Welcome to Unforbidden Truth. I'm Andrew. On this week's episode, I'll be speaking with Oregon double murderer Susan Monica. Susan is convicted of killing handyman Stephen Delicino in 2012 and Robert Haney in 2013. Both of their bodies were dismembered, and portions of their body were eaten by Susan's pigs. There were portions of human remains belonging to two people who turned out to be Stephen and Robert on Susan's property. On January 10th, 2014, authorities arrived at Susan's property after discovering Robert's EBT card was being used by Susan. Investigators then told Susan she was facing fraud charges. Investigators reported the property was filled with garbage, animal bones, and there was no running water or sewage system. Investigators spent 3 weeks canvassing Susan's farm, digging over 50 holes, searching for more evidence and other potential victims. In regards to Robert's death, Susan claims she went outside to find him on the ground, struggling as her pigs were disemboweling him, and she had shot him to death to end his suffering. She claims Stephen had shot himself in the head, and she had also shot him in self-defense, after which her pigs began to eat portions of his body. During her interrogation that was videotaped, Susan said, "I do not value human life very much. My feeling is the only thing wrong with the planet is there's people on it. If not for us, all the other animals, even dodo birds, would be here." Susan pled not guilty to 2 counts of murder, abuse of a corpse, and identity theft. Even though she had legal representation, Susan chose to cross-examine Eric Henderson, the case's lead investigator, on her own. An Oregon State Police anthropologist testified that Robert's legs were dismembered with an axe and that his thigh bones had showed signs of being gnawed on by an animal. The anthropologist stated that it was unclear whether he died prior to his legs being dismembered. Susan Monica was convicted on all counts. After 6 days of testimony and only 1 hour of jury deliberations, she was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Here's my interview with Susan Monica.
You have a prepaid call from
Susan Monica, coffee.
an adult in custody at Oregon Department of Corrections.
Let's start off with talking about your childhood. Where were you born?
San Francisco.
Can you recall your first positive memory as a child?
First positive memory? Well, I can't say that I remember my mother squeezing hard, but my father was a carpenter and contractor. And I was told that before I was born, he was a fireman. And that my mother wanted him to do something else. She was a little bit worried about him getting injured, I guess. So growing up, I learned just about everything you could know about building a house. I'm amazed today that a house is divided into 20 different parts now. Like I said, 60 years ago, when my father built a house, he built the house. Now somebody comes out and grades the dirt, and somebody comes out and digs the ditches for the foundation, and somebody pours the foundation, and somebody lays the concrete block and the floors and the footings, and every little thing is somebody else. And being 73 right now, if you want me to build a house, I'll go out and just build it. The only thing that I don't do is roofs. It's not that I can't do the roof; it's that doing a roof is very liable. If somebody's got a $20,000 grand piano, you don't want water dripping on it, so I don't want to be liable for that. Otherwise, I pretty much grew up that way.
Can you think of a negative memory from your childhood that sticks out?
Oh, gee, I don't know. I kind of miss my family as I was growing up a little bit, because I went into the Navy, and my mother died when I was in the Navy, and a couple of years after I got out of the Navy, my father died. So I kind of miss my family that way. But I've always been very a very giving person. We always had family get-togethers, and we always gave to other people. That's something that I miss in here.
Did you suffer any type of childhood abuse or trauma growing up?
Oh, never. No, never.
Did you have any hobbies growing up as a child?
I had a stamp collection and a coin collection. Like I say, my father taught me all kinds of woodworking. I went ahead and I made flower boxes, and I sold flower boxes to neighbors, and I could buy like 10 packages of seeds for half price, and then I would go around and sell the seeds at full price to people. And, I had a paper route with the Richmond Independent, I think it was. Made a little bit of money that way. That was another thing. My father always said, my father always gave me, I should say, everything I needed. When I was old enough, he bought me a bicycle, and I learned how to ride. And then I wanted to get a 10-speed bicycle, and he said, "Well, if you want it, you have to go out and earn the money and buy it." And I did. So that's I've always grown up very independent.
What was your behavior like growing up? Going back as early as you can remember through your childhood, were you a good kid? Were you like a troublemaker? What was your behavior like growing up?
No, I was never a troublemaker at all.
What was your behavior like in school, more so your middle school and high school years?
My behavior was always very good. I never got in trouble in school.
Did you finish high school? Did you graduate?
Yes, I graduated high school. I didn't do really good in. It had nothing to do with my behavior. My behavior was always very good. But I have dyslexia, and 65 years ago or something, I guess now, they didn't know much about dyslexia, and my mother had me see a tutor, but the tutor taught me phonetics, and the problem is the English language is not phonetical, so she really hurt me more than helped me. So I always want to spell cat with a K. One of those things, I just had to learn over the years. So although I did very good in math and science and stuff, my reading to this date is still very poor. But my math skills are excellent. I know pi to 40 decimal places. Not that it comes in useful very often.
Did you engage in any type of criminal activity as a juvenile?
No. That's one of the reasons. This whole thing is so stupid. They said, I wish I knew where you were, 5 or 6 years ago. This whole thing about myself and the truth will set you free, and this is the first time I've been able to tell the truth. Every time I open my mouth, somebody tells me to shut up.
Tell me about the farm that you were living on when you were arrested and how that farm life was for you at the time.
Yeah, I bought, in 91, I bought 20 acres there in Wimer. It's outside of Medford. And one day I was talking with a neighbor, and they wanted to go ahead and get a pig and raise it. And they asked me if I wanted to get one also. And I said, yeah, I'd like to get a pig and raise it. And after talking with them for a while, we decided that I would go ahead and raise them on my property. And they would just, supply the food. So when it came to came time to slaughter the pigs, we had somebody come out and they killed the pigs and took them away in the truck. And a week and a half later or something, went over and picked up all the meat, and I couldn't believe it. The meat, it was just so good. I found out sometime later that the reason they call pork the white meat is because when commercial people do this, they take a water hose and stick it in and bleed out the fat and the blood. They pump water in so that blood will come out. So that's why the meat ends up white. And the blood also gives meat a lot of flavor. So I couldn't believe how much flavorful this was. So that was one of the reasons I started raising the pigs. And I got up to where I had half a dozen sows, and I was selling meat and selling the baby pigs. One of the things that was so stupid that in I think it was 20. It was no, it was in 1919 or 1919. No. What am I saying? 2019. There we go. In 2019, there was this one woman that was killed, and she just had a heart attack or whatever, and the prosecutor told the media he had had a heart attack or drank too much. This was a man. I'm reading this little part here that I have. The prosecutor told the local media he either had a heart attack or too much to drink. Said things like this happen several times a year, so there will be no investigation. There was no crime. This is a normal occurrence. The pigs will not be killed and buried, but will be sold and eaten eaten for their bacon and sausage. This was one of the things that I tried to do at my trial. I had 3 freezers full of pork, and I wanted the pork to go to the people in the community, and they just took everything. They thought that I was a cannibal, and they had the meat analyzed to see if it was human meat in there. The whole thing is so stupid. I just, every time I think about it, I can't believe it.
Right.
There was one. This was the woman in 2012. She had one pig that weighed 700 pounds, and they found her remains. And this was in Riverton, Oregon. I had half a dozen pigs that were 400 pounds more or less, and my boar, he weighed 940 pounds. This is just so unbelievable for me. Like I say, I wish I knew where you were 5 or 6 years ago.
So, Susan, can you tell me how you met the 2 victims in these cases?
Well, like I said, my father taught me how to build everything. I've always tried to learn. One day, this woman Beverly Guerrero, she called me and wanted me to install a solar panel for her. So when I went up to her property, I met Steve on her property. She and her husband had a little 20-foot Airstream trailer, and they let him stay in the trailer. And he did odd jobs, around the place, just for a place to stay. He was a functioning alcoholic. He drank nearly a case of beer every day, but he was never really drunk. I knew him for over 10 years. I think I only really saw him drunk one time. And then this was kind of how some of this started, was that when George died, that's Beverly's husband, when George died, she buried him in her vegetable garden. And, I mean, this sounds weird, but she had a lot of land. I have 20 acres. I'm not sure exactly how many acres she had, but I thought that in Oregon, if you had a lot of property, you just buried them. And the only requirement is that you get a medical examiner, first, then you can bury them whenever you want. You don't have to spend $5,000 or $6,000 on a coffin and all this. Anyway, after George died, Beverly, she was a Seventh-day Adventist, and she would not buy him any beer. So he started stealing. One day he stole a rifle from me. When I noticed that the rifle was gone, I went out and I bought 2 more rifles at a pawn shop. And I thought that if he was going to steal something else, he would steal one of the rifles again and, not be stealing my tools. So this went on for a while. And one day I took him home. He was about 5 miles up the road from me. I took him home, and he asked me if I wanted to buy a log splitter. And I told him that, hey, you can't be selling other people's stuff that belongs to Beverly and George. George might be gone, and he might not be using the log splitter, but you can't just go ahead and steal it and sell it. So, I don't know, 3-4 weeks later, I gave him a ride home again, and where the log splitter was, it wasn't there anymore. And I asked him where it was, and he said he had taken it and sold it to somebody. I said, okay, who'd you sell it to? And he reluctantly told me who he had sold it to, and I went back to see if I could buy it back again. And I figured, I knew it was a $600 or $700 log splitter from Sears, and I'm sure they used it for a week and went ahead and sold it for $200. But so that was I couldn't do anything about that. And then one day, Beverly got a package from Sears, and it was addressed to George. She had she bought it with a credit card, and the credit card said George and Beverly Guerrero, and that's how it came. So when Steve saw that she had opened this package that was addressed to him, she got really upset, and he said, he could not stay with Beverly anymore, and that she was going to leave. And then he called me and he told me that he was going to leave and he wanted me to give him a ride into town. So I picked him up, and I was on the way into town, and he told me that he was going to move to Florida, where he had a house. And here's a guy that, you know, he couldn't rub two nickels together, let alone two quarters. And he had a house in Florida. This didn't make any sense at all. So I knew this was just, total bullshit. And I said, why don't you just go ahead and think about it a while and stay with Beverly, or you can move in with me. He said no, he couldn't do that. So he asked me for $100 so I could go ahead and have some money on the way. I said, sure, I can give you $100. I could have given him, $500, but all he wanted was $100, and I said, okay. And then I made him a stupid mistake. I went ahead and I asked him who he had sold the rifle to so I could buy it back. Because I had, this was a nice 30-06 with a scope on it, and it had some engraving on the on the stock of the rifle. It had some engraving on there. It was a nice rifle. I think I paid about $300 for it. And I had never shot it. And I had this big dream that I was come up to Oregon. I would, be shooting deer and putting them in my freezer. And the first thing I ever shot and killed was a goat. And after I shot it, I got sick. I went ahead and spent the whole day cleaning this one little goat. It tasted good, but I had a heck of a time trying to clean it and everything.
We have the gist of how you met Stephen. How did you meet Robert Haney?
Well, Robert was kind of totally different. Once a month, I think it's once a month anyway, in Cave Junction they have auctions for livestock and miscellaneous other things. And I met him at one of those auctions. He talked to me one day about something, I have no idea. And he mentioned that he was losing his job and he didn't have any place to stay. And I asked him a couple of questions, and I said, if you want to do a little bit of handyman work around, helping me, I'll give you a place to stay. So he moved half a ton of stuff onto more than half a ton of stuff onto my property, and I gave him a place to stay. And he did a little handyman work for me. He was a good worker. He knew a few trades, and he didn't like to work. But when he was working, he was really good at it. He had his own little firewood business, and he would go around picking up trees from wherever, and he'd bring them over to my place, chop them up, and then he'd sell the firewood. I actually owe him $175, I think it was. When he was gone, I sold some firewood for him, and that number just stuck in my head, I just think. But yeah, that's how we met.
Were you ever romantically involved with Stephen or Robert?
No. I was just like I said, I give people are down and out, and I give them a place to stay. I've had a dozen people stay on my property. Some stay there a week or two, and some stay there quite a bit.
So you basically were just offering to help people get back on their feet and whatnot.
Yes. Steve stayed there a couple of nights once in a while, but most of the time he just he lived there with Beverly, and that was his little home. Beverly is one of the people I tried to get to come to my defense, but my lawyer wouldn't do it. A couple days after I had killed Steve, I went up and told her what happened, and she told me that I don't think it's true, but anyway, she told me that she thought he might actually have wanted me to kill him because he had hepatitis really bad. That was kind of far-fetched on her part, I thought, but.
Let's talk about those two murders that you're convicted of. Can you walk me through both incidents and everything that took place? And we can start off with the first homicide.
That was Steve. I knew Steve very well for over 10 years, and he had a part-time job a mile up the road from me, and one day he almost cut his own hand off, and the guy wouldn't let him work for him anymore. And so Steve worked for me a couple of days a week, during the summers, and a couple of days a month during the winter. But like I say, he was a functioning alcoholic, but I never let him use any power tools. He had a thing about trying to do too much all the time. One day we were loading hay on a trailer, and I wanted to put another row of hay on the trailer, so I stood on the tongue of the trailer and told him to hand me the bales, and I would put them up. And he said, no, I'll get it. And he went ahead and he tried to lift it up, and finally he dropped it, and he just said, "Oh, the hell with it," and he walked off. He was very proud. He was very much a gentleman. He always liked to open doors for me and carry things for me.
How did the murder specifically happen? I know you said that it was self-defense. Can you walk me through everything that happened that day?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what I said before or not. But anyway, when George died, Steve started stealing, so he had money to buy his beer. One day he stole a rifle from me, and I didn't say anything to him about it. I actually went out and I bought 2 rifles at a pawn shop. And I figured that if Steve wanted beer money again, he would take them, and I didn't want him stealing my tools. So that went to, I don't know, several months. And then one day, Beverly got a package from Sears, and it was addressed to George. Well, Steve was very appreciative of George, and he got mad at Beverly for opening his package, even though he was dead and the credit card had both their names on it. So I can't remember what it was that she ordered, but she ordered something, and he got pissed off. So one day he called me, and he wanted me to give him a ride into town. And I went ahead and I picked him up, and I tried to talk him out of moving. And he said he was going to move from Oregon to Florida. And he told me he had a house in Florida, and this didn't make any sense because I couldn't understand why somebody lived in a little trailer for 10 years and then had a house in Florida that I couldn't talk him out of it. I said, he could move in with me or something. And anyway, uh, when I picked him up, like I said, I tried to talk him out of going, and I asked him about the rifle that he had stolen, and he thought that I was having him arrested for stealing. And I told him, no, I'm not having you arrested. All I wanted to know is, who you sold it to. I'll try and get to buy it back because I had someone else that wanted the rifle. And he started pushing me around, and I had a shower, and the plumbing was exposed. There's no wall. There was just one of those plastic shower bathtub things that you get for $150 or something. And so he pushed me into the plumbing there several times, and I had a couple little cuts on my back, and I'm yelling at him to stop, and he kept on doing that, and then he went ahead and he hit me a couple of times in the chest with the rifle, and I'm telling him, stop. I'm not going to have you arrested. I just wanted to know where the rifle went so that this other guy could buy it. And finally, he was hitting me in the chest so many times with the butt of the rifle, I couldn't stand the pain any longer. I didn't know it at the time, but he had hit me so hard that he busted a breast implant. So I had this little bit derringer, and I went ahead and I had it in my right hand, and we were both holding on to the rifle with. I was holding the barrel. I was holding my left hand, and he was holding the down towards the stock and hitting me, and I couldn't stand the pain any longer. And I took this little derringer and I tried to shoot him in the arm, in his left arm. I tried to shoot him in his left arm, and they pushed me back again into the plumbing, and I fired the little derringer, and it hit him in the head, and it didn't do really any damage. It just kind of grazed his skull. The medical examiners actually found the bullet in his scalp. So now he's beating on me, and he's starting to yell, "I'm going to kill you! I'm going to kill you!" So I went ahead and I managed to get loose for a minute and a half maybe, and I ran out of the bedroom. And this was a small bedroom that I had in the front part of the barn. And I ran out, and I went around the corner where I have a couple of pig stalls, and I hid. So, like I said, a minute and a half later, he was on top of me again, and he's just yelling, "I'm going to kill you! I'm going to kill you!" And I'm yelling at him, just shut up, Steve, shut up! I'm not going to have you arrested. I'm not going to have you arrested. And he pushed me up against this one little wall, and I grabbed onto a 2x4, and there's it's a 4-foot wall. Well, the 2x4s go all the way up to the ceiling, but it's a 4-foot wall, and every couple of feet I have a 2x4 holding this plywood up. So I grabbed onto that, and he's hitting me more with the with the rifle, uh, and yelling, "I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna kill you!" Then he kind of loosened up the grip on the rifle. I managed to get it away from him, and he grabbed my left leg and tried to get me down to the ground. And at that point, I knew if he had gotten me down to the ground, he was going to kill me, because that was all he was saying, is, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." You know, and I went ahead and I took the rifle, and I managed to get my left hand onto the the trigger of the rifle, and I turned it over, and I shot him with the rifle, and he grabbed me even harder. I couldn't understand it. I was totally in shock or whatever, and I tried to get away, and he was just holding on to my hand, onto my leg, and I was taking my right hand and grabbing onto the other 2x4s and trying to pull myself away from him, and I couldn't pull myself away. And I was yelling at him, and I went ahead and I started hitting him a couple of times on the shoulders to tell him to let go. And I didn't realize at the time, but that was one of those things called a death grip. I didn't know he was dead, but anyway, I went ahead and I shot him 2 more times, and I didn't understand it. I was pretty sure that I had shot him now 3 times in the head, and I just couldn't understand what the heck was going on. He was still holding on to my leg. So I tried to pull away a little bit farther, and I couldn't. And finally, I went ahead and I hit him a couple more times on the shoulder, and then I turned, and when I turned, I kind of halfway stepped over him with my right leg, and when I did that, he released me, and that's when I ran out the side door of the barn, and I was sure that any minute, he was going to be after me. So I didn't think about closing the door. Who the hell runs away from somebody and closes a door? So I got out the door, and I went through the side gate to the pig pen there, and I ran back into my bedroom, and I barricaded the door there, and I just tried to clean myself up. Then I'm sure it was over an hour, and he hadn't come in, pounding on the door or anything. And I had cleaned myself up a little bit, and I went back out, and I was going to try to talk to him. And when I went in there, a couple of the pigs had come in, and he was laying there dead, and my pigs were just licking him. So then I went ahead and I tried to get to shoo them out the door so I could close it, and I couldn't do it. I was still in a hell of a lot of pain. I had half a dozen pigs, and they're all 400 pounds or more. Like I said, my boar, he weighed 940 pounds. It was a few months later I killed him, and I weighed him, and he was 940 pounds. But I went ahead and I'd get one out, and then I'd try to get the second one out, and I might get three out, and then all of a sudden the other one would come back in. So I just gave up. I went back in my room, and I just kind of sat there crying, and thinking what the heck I had just done. And this was a guy that was my friend for over 10 years. So I figured that the pigs would leave, and I would go ahead and take care of them, whatever. And I came back later, and they had dragged him outside. So I've got a quarter of an acre, and he was laying out in the middle of that. And there's no way I could do anything. I kind of figured that they would leave him alone by evening. In the evening, they had started eating him, and his clothes were, a bunch of bloody rags by then. I tried to get up early the next morning, and they were already out there eating him again. There was no, I mentioned that there was like 20 million people are eaten by their by their pets. I couldn't believe that number when it came up, but if you'd ever, give a piece of meat to a dog and then try to get it away from the dog, he doesn't care, how long you've been his master. He wants that piece of meat and he'll do anything for it. So when you got a half a dozen pigs there, I couldn't do anything. Finally, I managed to get them all into their other pens, and I picked them up, and I picked them up with the bucket on my backhoe, and I lifted him up over the fence, and I dug a hole, and I buried Steve there. The next day, Ray, one of my workers, he came by, saw me burying Steve. He called the sheriff's department, and they sent out 2 officers. I talked to them for a few minutes, and I went ahead and I said, I'll go get a couple of shovels, and we could dig them up. I was going to show them my chest all black and blue, and like I said, I ended up with almost $9,000 hospital bill, but I didn't know it at the time. My lawyer even lied to me on that part. Anyway, the 2 officers, it was Detective Arnold and a Sergeant Sickler. They just said the heck with it, and they left. I couldn't believe it, but I'm offering to dig up a body so I can show you my chest and prove to you that I shot him in self-defense, and they just walked away.
Did they record your statements or take photos of the quote-unquote crime scene or take any type of evidence or anything when they were there before they left?
No.
Did they say why they weren't going to take any type of evidence?
They didn't say anything. They just left, and then the next day, this was now 3 days after it happened, I think. And it was 3 or 4 days anyway. 3 or 4 days after it happened, I drove up to Beverly's, and I told her what happened. And like I said, she said that he had hepatitis really bad, and he might have wanted me to kill him. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. But that's what she said. And then one of the things that she tried to commit, she wanted me to commit forgery too. Beverly told me that his paperwork for his food stamps had just come, and she offered me his food stamp card, and wanted me to, sign his name on there. And that was so stupid because it ended up I was arrested for on a pretext that I needed money for food stamps or something. I had no motive for this at all, for either one. I owned a piece of property worth $300,000. I had about $8,000 in the bank. I had $3,000 in cash in my bedroom. I had $200 on me when they arrested me. And they said they're like killing people for food stamps?
So after you had killed Stephen, were you using his food stamps up until you were arrested?
No. Steve only had a couple of dollars on his food stamps. I never used those. I felt really bad, and I couldn't sleep. I still have nightmares right now, and it's been almost 8, 9, 10. It's close to 10 years now, and every once in a while, if I don't feel good, I have nightmares of Steve beating me. I talked to my boyfriend one day, and he told me I had PTSD. And that was another thing. I tried to get my lawyer to get me someone that knew about it so I could explain, what happened and why my story didn't make any sense to begin with.
Now, in the case of Robert, what went on there in regards to the murder and his body being eaten as well by the pigs?
Robert, like I said, I met him at the auction, and he had been staying on my property for a few months. And one day, he told me he wanted me to watch his dog. He gave me $20 for dog food. And I thought that he was going to Ashland for a couple of weeks to work. And then a couple of weeks turned into a couple of months, I guess. And his son called me, and he said he hadn't heard from his father for a while, and he wanted me to report him missing. I said, well, I don't know what your father is doing. I think he went to Ashland. And I said, you should be the one that reports him missing. And he really didn't say much of anything, and that was kind of it. And then one morning, I go down to the barn, and my pigs are smarter than dogs in some ways, anyway. And in the morning, they are at the back door of the barn waiting to get fed. And this morning, I was walking down there, and they were out in the middle of their yard. And I couldn't understand that. And I walked down to the gate. That was the gate that I had ran out of before. And I went in there, and I always grab a broomstick when I go into the pig pen. So I went in there, and I couldn't understand what they were doing. They were just all together right in the middle of the pen. So I got down there, and I saw Robert. He was on his back, and he was completely disemboweled. there was just nothing there. And I figured that he had come back, late at night, and he had been drinking and just went in the wrong gate, because there's two gates, one I don't know, 100 feet away from the other one, and one gate goes into my pig pen, and the other gate goes down to where Robert has his truck. He had a pickup truck with a camper shell on it. And that's where he stayed most of the time. And then he had the room in the barn also, where he cooked his meals and watched TV and stuff like that. And I tried to get the pig to go away. And I kind of knew from Steve that it was futile. But all of a sudden I heard this noise, and I'm looking at this mess, and there was just nothing. I could see, I could practically see his backbone looking at his stomach, and here all of a sudden I hear this little noise, and I couldn't believe it, but I thought maybe he was still alive. I went up, I grabbed my rifle, I came down, and I shot him in the head. And I just couldn't, I couldn't believe that he was alive to start with. And there was, if he was lying in the best hospital in the world, I don't think he would have survived, more than a couple minutes. That was the way I was looking at him. So I figured I'd put him out of his misery. And then when the sheriff came out on the missing person report, I didn't want Robert's family to know how he had died. I'm very much I care for people. I care for people a lot, and I just did not want his family to know the way he had died. And I figured that would have, his son had called me up and thought he was dead, and he wanted me to report him missing and all. And I just figured, let him continue to think that he's alive somewhere, and that's why I didn't say anything. And at one point we were thinking that his daughter had been raped, and the sheriff's department was unwilling or unable, whatever, to find out who raped his daughter. And I think that was one of the big reasons he started binge drinking. A couple of times a month, he was literally fall down drunk. And I think that's what happened. Is he came back, late at night or early in the morning, whatever, and he was drunk and went to the pig pen, and they did their thing. Then the sheriff's department came out and found a leg that apparently a coyote had ran off with a leg. And then they went ahead and looked around in my pig pen, and they found a shotgun shell that was 3 or 4 years old. And here's this 4-year-old shotgun shell, and they say that no ballistics ever being done. They say that this is what I used to shoot Robert with. So they found a shotgun in the pawn shop. It belonged to Sean Lemanis. Sean Lemanis went to my lawyer, told her that it was his shotgun and his signature, and she made a strategic decision to allow the district attorney to lie. And then that was my fifth lawyer deposed her, and she said that. And then he also deposed my first lawyer's assistant, and the assistant said that Detective Henderson, who was the lead detective on the case, he told the district attorney that it was my signature, and he told my assistant attorney that he knew it wasn't my signature. So he went ahead and knowingly lied to the district attorney. Then when the district attorney brings his shotgun in and shows it to the jury and says that I used it to shoot Robert, I objected, and I went ahead and I signed a piece of paper with my signature on it. I signed my signature on a piece of paper. I had the court guy give it to the judge. The judge looked at it, said, "What is this?" I said, "Your Honor, that's my signature." And he went ahead and gave it to the district attorney. The district attorney wanted to get a handwriting expert. I said, "Bring him in." I knew if a handwriting expert came in that I would have been proved innocent. There was, like I say, I find out later that my lawyer had absolute 100% proof from two witnesses that knew the signature was not mine, and she does nothing. So after I said, "Go ahead, I agree with the district attorney. Let's get a handwriting expert." Judge Barnack had the jury removed, had me taken out, put in shackles, and brought back in, and told me to shut up or be tried in absentia. And this was, 2 weeks after he had granted me permission to defend myself because I didn't want Christine Herbert to begin with. So I'm sitting there in shackles, which has not been legal in the state of Oregon since 1970 or 71 or something like that. And I'm sitting in shackles, told to shut up, and I can't do anything to save myself. I guess that's about it.
Were you offered any type of plea deals while you were on trial?
Oh yeah, that was the first thing out of my lawyer's mouth. First thing out of her mouth was take a plea deal of 20 years. I said, I didn't murder anybody. I killed Steve in self-defense, and I said, I believe that Robert was dead, but he had made a noise, and because I heard this noise, I went ahead and I shot him to put him out of his misery. I said, this is, a clear case of self-defense and a mercy killing. And she tells me, well, I'm not into that. I'm going to plead guilty for 20 years. I said, no. So almost 8-9 months after this nightmare started, her assistant, who turned out to be a pervert, who was taking pictures of his stepdaughter, he got temporarily disbarred. And I think he should have been totally disbarred and thrown in jail. But anyway, so then they get another second attorney on my case, and I told the two of them again. I said, look, it was self-defense on the case of Stephen Delicino, and I don't know if Robert was alive or not, but I shot him to put him out of his misery. And the reason I didn't say anything about Robert was to save the knowing of the horrible way in which he died. And as far as Steve goes, just a couple days after I had killed him, I told Beverly Guerrero that I had killed him, and she didn't say anything at all. Like I say, she actually said he had hepatitis really bad and might have wanted me to kill him. But that was pretty much it.
In court, after 6 days of testimony and just 1 hour of jury deliberations, you were found guilty on all counts and you were sentenced to serve 50 years in an Oregon penitentiary. Yeah. How did you feel when you were handed down your 50-year prison sentence?
I couldn't believe it. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. I did believe it. I did believe it because I was unable to defend myself. I told Judge Barnack I did not want Christine Herbert. I said I wanted to defend myself. Judge Barnack blackmailed me into keeping Christine Herbert. He told me after I had wanted to get another lawyer a couple of times, he had me see a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist said that when I saw Judge Barnack after I saw the psychiatrist, Judge Barnack said that I was smarter than he thought I was, and he said, I'm granting you permission to defend myself. But then at court, I was allowed to cross-examine one witness, and that was it. And I'm sitting here in shackles, which was against the law, and told to shut up. My own lawyer, I'm trying to object to false evidence being brought into the court. My own lawyer said, shut up, or I'm going to put tape on your mouth. So, yeah, I completely believed it because I was unable to defend myself.
Do you feel that there's been any type of misconceptions about you in the media?
Oh, God, yes. Because I had that, one day I was, a couple of years ago now, I guess, one of the girls said, hey, I saw you on TV. I said, what do you mean you saw me on TV? And they had this thing called Snapped. And I went ahead and I turned on, I've seen the program, when I'm flipping through the channels, and I just turned it off right away. All those things I think are completely stupid. So anyway, I went ahead and I went in my room and I watched until it came up again, and I watched the thing about me, and it's like 20% of it was the truth. The rest of it was nothing but lies. I sent them a letter. I said that when I get out, I was going to sue them for $100 million for nationwide defamation of character.
So, Susan, how do you spend your time in prison on a day-to-day basis?
I do a little writing. I'm writing a movie about a dog that Molly officer with paws. So I've been writing a movie, and otherwise I lay in bed, watch TV all day. I come out every once in a while, and I play chess. I play chess a lot. I haven't found anybody that's really any good. But most of the time I just lay there and watch TV and wait for the next meal to come around, which is pretty good. Well, yeah. If you look at a menu for the meals they serve here, you would be amazed. Oh, they're really eating good. They've got all this here. They got all that. They got this. And then you actually look at the food and you get sick. They look in the back of recipe books, and they just pick out a name, and say, oh, let's take and we'll call this this. Almost everything is noodles. They have mac and cheese with lousy cheese. They got macaroni and spaghetti sauce, and it's got a cup and a half of macaroni noodles and 2 tablespoons of meat. Every Thursday evening we get pizza. All I ever do is scrape the little bit of cheese that's on there off of the dough. I won't call it crust, but it's never cooked properly. So I do that, and I eat a lot of salad. I make my own salad dressing because I don't like the high fat stuff. They give you a lot of bread, almost all of it white. I only eat wheat bread. So, yeah.
Before we conclude this interview, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
I'd like all of you out there. I was unable to find my brother. I joined the Navy.
1 minute
I was in
remaining.
the Navy for 3 years and 7 months. Got an honorable discharge, and this was back in Vietnam. And I actually went up the Saigon River. But anyway, when I got out, my brother's 5 years younger than me. He joined the Air Force, and we would talk every once in a while. And then my brother moved. He was in South Dakota, and I called the Air Force Base there, and they told me that they could not give out any information on him unless I needed a kidney. So for 40 years now, I've been able to find my brother. If anybody knows James Buchanan, Buchan. But well, I say again, motive. I think I had about $8,000 in the bank. I had $3,000 in cash in my bedroom, and I'm accused of killing people for pig food. There's just no way. I've had a lot of people stay on my property because I'm always trying to help people. I worked as a cleaner for the cleaners in Central Point for about 5 years, and over that time, I had about 24 families that once, twice, and even sometimes 3 times a month, I took food to these families at my own expense. At my own expense. Nobody paid me gas money or anything. I went 20 miles, 25. I drove 25 miles into Central Point. I'd spend an hour loading up my truck with food. I'd spend a couple more hours delivering food to these people because they were in need. On when I turned 60, I wanted to do something special for my birthday, and I went around trying to find a nice place to eat, and I just couldn't think of any place I wanted to eat. And I went into this little market, and I bought a ice cream, and I was sitting out in the car eating ice cream, and I was watching the people go into the store, and I went back in the store, and I got a bunch of $10 bills. I think I got $100, and I think I got $10 bills. And I went outside and I started handing out $10 bills just as people walked in the door. I said, "It's my birthday. I'm doing something special for my birthday, and here's $10." About a year later, I started doing this on my birthday, and then I started doing it at Christmas also. At Christmas, I would go in and I'd buy a bunch of boxes of candies, and I put them in mailboxes, and I put a little note on there, just "Merry Christmas from a friend." And I didn't know anybody at all. It was just random mailboxes. And a couple of years later, I asked Steve out, and we went out to this little Chinese buffet. And afterward, I went back to the store, and I gave him some money. And I said, you can stand at that door, and I'll stand over at this one. And just when somebody goes in the store, hand them $10 and say it's my birthday, and I'm giving out this money for him. Well, Steve cops walking down the street, and they saw somebody with a gun on somebody else, and trying to rob them. And they saw Steve on the other side of the street, just minding his own business, walking down the street. They would go after him. He always wore fatigues, camouflage kind of stuff. He had long gray hair and a gray beard, and he just looked, I mean, now everybody's, saying about, Negroes, are walking down the street and they go after them, and blacks had nothing on Steve. Steve was somebody that the cop wanted to arrest. So anyway, I was watching Steve give out these $10 bills, and people are looking at him and looking at the $10 bills. Oh, this has got to be counterfeit or something. Anyway, I've done that. I've done that every year since I turned 60 for my birthday, and at Christmas I give out things. While here in prison, I've probably given out $1,000. I haven't had any luck this last Christmas. I went ahead and I bought a pen and a book of writing paper for everybody in here, but they won't let me do it. So I've got a whole bunch of pens and writing paper for I still try to get some of it out every once in a while. But there was absolutely no motive. I'm a very giving person. To do what they said I did is just 180 degrees, from my personality.
That was my interview with Susan Monica. Thank you for listening.